more traditional rifle stocks don't have all the extra adjustments. You order it with a length of pull in mind. Stocks don't have the adjustable cheek pieces. All that stuff comes into play.
What is up, everybody? Mark on the mic. Jim to my right. Mr. Mike Tassoul across from me. Also across from me, Mr. Ryan Muckenhirn. Now, gentlemen, you know this. I put a lot of stock in what you guys have to think about things. Hunting, shooting, general life advice. And related to shooting, we got a bunch of stocks on the table, but we also have a bunch of chassis on the table. And that's the topic of our discussion today, stocks versus chassis. We're going to talk, competition, long range. We're going to talk hunting and a lot about where they intersect. If you're watching on YouTube, I made an intersection.
I thought that was one of Mark's, like, stop, we're going to start over.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that's what that was.
I think we're rolling.
Good.
Well,
Do you think we're not rolling?
I'll tell you, he's feeling confident.
We're rolling.
Do we need to start over?
No.
No. Don't go down that path.
No.
Stop. Ryan, you did the math, or maybe you and Mike were doing the math. I'm no math magician, but what did you guys figure? How much dollar value of stocks, chassis do we have on the table here?
Ooh.
We don't talk about these things in case your spouses listen to them.
True.
If a person were to hypothetically go out and purchase the smattering of items in front of us, you're looking at just under $13,000 worth of stocks.
That's impressive.
That is before you put a barreled action or trigger or bottom metal or weight.
Or ammo.
Yeah.
Hypothetically.
Yeah.
Hypothetically.
So there's quite a selection here. Yeah.
When it comes to the quotation mark regular rifle stocks that we have on the table, I would call all of them very modern.
Yeah.
Very modern in makeup, very modern in feature set, design, materials, all the things. Some really cool stuff going on here. And then when it comes to the chassis department, which I would say I am less familiar with, I'd say the chassis gun that I've shot the most, Jim, is actually the one that we kind of built together. We did that project a while back, homemade versus pro-made.
Oh,
where
yeah.
you
Do you
That's a
still
ways
have
back.
that? Whatever happened to that gun?
I think I got it somewhere.
Carbon barrel and
All the things.
just fully
That was a chassis gun.
Post Maloned out.
It was great. And
Full
you had a quotation mark traditional rifle. I mean, it was like fully featured stock though. Like it was a really
Well, yeah. I mean, we were both doing. Wait, are you talking about the one where we built some PRS guns and mine was like the entry level one? And
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Right.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah. I was using a. Well, I'm sure it's going to be covered here today because this. I don't even know whether to call it a stock or a chassis that was on that gun of mine there because it was one of these like hybridized things where it sort of had a stockish look to it, but it had a lot of chassis features. Where I don't even know where the line actually is drawn.
the line
anymore.
The lines
Blurred.
get blurred. There is overlap. Mike, you shoot a lot of both. You shoot a lot of PRS. What are your thoughts on what we got going on here?
There's a lot going on here.
There's a lot to unpack here.
Yeah. I mean, stock versus chassis, there's so much personal preference that goes into it. Really, what best fits what you're looking for. I mean, ultimately, I compete with guys that run chassis. I compete with guys that run a more traditional stock. I have both myself. There's a lot of different things there that really come into play as to how you would pick one or the other.
Is the chassis, when people think, well, I was going to ask this question thinking I knew the answer, which I don't because, I guess when I personally think of a chassis, I think of like a long range competition, oftentimes heavier. We've got one here that's got a bunch of weight added to it. But there are outliers to that, or definitely exceptions to that. One of those we have on the table here. But I think of them as a kind of like that long range tactical competition type thing. And yet when I look at the hunting world these days, though, I'm seeing a lot of chassis rifles, folding chassis. I can't argue with the selection at the same time. You know, aesthetically, on the hunt side, they seem
Pretty Buck Rogers.
right. But functionally, practically, they have a lot to offer. But, Mike, you've shot a lot of both. Like, when you think stock versus chassis, do you prefer them one place, not another place? Is it just, what's going on that day? What goes into your selection?
Really, it has to do with what I need out of the stock or chassis. Your chassis typically bring a lot more modularity, ability. Your more traditional rifle stocks don't have all the extra adjustments. You order it with a length of pull in mind. The traditional stocks don't have the adjustable cheek pieces. All that stuff comes into play. If I'm looking for something for my long range rifle, I don't want to have to be hunting for a cheek weld. So I like the adjustable cheek piece. I like the ability to adjust my length of pull, whether it be through spacers, whether it be, like this MPA, you can actually just dial adjust. Some guys
What do you mean dial adjust? What are you talking about there?
So that back dial right there, that one, if you turn that will adjust your length of pull.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yep, I've seen that before.
Yeah, so like the Hunt 26 that Jimmy was just playing with, this one has spacers. It's lighter weight, less things happening. That one's all about weight.
So this has dial adjust for the buttstock and the comb there. Okay. Yep.
I know guys that will actually adjust their length of pull between stages depending on position that they're shooting sometimes.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've always thought to, customize the gun to me, but then I'm a little bit of a Ronco rotisserie, man. I set it and forget it,
Yep.
But these guys are looking at a specific scenario, and I'm going to be shooting in this position, and I want the gun to be configured a certain way.
Yeah, and that's kind of the novelty, though, right? To be able to do that. So like a benched or seated position is going to place your cheek on the comb at A. A prone position is going to place it at B. And then comb height and length of pull, I'm not going to say requirements, but like proper fitment will change subtly between those. And so if they're trying to dial that fit for that specific scenario, yeah.
It seems to me like in the last, we've talked about this a lot has happened in the firearms industry in the last decade, certainly the last two decades. And I feel like the popularization of competitive shooting or long range shooting in general, even if you're not doing it in a competition, but you just have a long range gun, then you go to the range and you shoot at, say, small targets, or you shoot at targets at great distances, whatever it is, and you've had to be ultra precise. I feel like that has bled over into all types of shooting, beyond just competition, beyond just shooting off of a bench at long range. I feel like you got all your hunters who went out with probably guns that had stocks a lot like this, minus the fact that maybe this is made out of modern materials or something like that.
Which one is that?
This is the boring one, whatever that one.
The HE Privateer.
Yeah, that one.
By the way, Jim, that is not boring at all. That is a very streamlined, ultralight carbon fiber stock.
Right, so the boring one. They went out with ones like that, but maybe it was like wood, and everybody has... I think these guys were getting behind their long-range rifle. Maybe it was like when Ruger came out with like the RPR or something like that. It had all this adjustability, and they were that thing was just tuned to their body. And they're like, man, shooting this thing is a joy. It's really comfortable. Then I get behind my hunting rifle. I can't get the eye box right on my rifle scope. It's always uncomfortable, but I need to be just as precise. Why would I say that when I'm hunting I can be less precise? So then all of a sudden they start thinking, maybe I bucked the trend. I do put a chassis on my hunting gun. Or maybe then you see stock companies now coming out with stocks that have flat bottom fore ends. They even have Arca Swiss rails on the fore ends, adjustable combs and butt stocks. And I mean, it's just, I think it's a lot of people realized I prefer precision over svelte. But then also at the same time, you have guys like you two who are like, you guys practically have a party in the break room if you find that AG Composites just came out with a new boring stock that shaved off an ounce from the last one.
Jim, it's not boring. It's purpose built for an application. You might be on a backcountry backpack hunt where every gram counts.
Let me ask
and
you.
maybe you're shooting a cartridge like a 308, and you're not going to shoot it more than it's not capable of more than 200 yards.
Let me ask you a question.
I hope you slip on a
I
banana
know I
peel.
haven't been here in a while. I know I haven't been here in a minute, Mark.
Jim Look, I had a chance to end the
missed you.
cycle. Jim started getting under my feathers, and then I make that comment.
I missed you, Mark.
That's how they show their love.
Let me ask you this. Let's say a group of let's say a very cool based kindergarten class came in here, and the teacher said, "Okay, kids, today we're going to look at all these different rifle stocks and chassis." And then the kids came in. Which of these do you think they're all going to go, "Oh"? Which one, Mark? Just answer the question.
Kids are attracted to bright lights and flashing colors.
Exactly.
And
Things that aren't boring. I never said that this is not good, low quality.
it's
that it has no
purpose-built
point.
for a
It's perfect,
specific,
blah, 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 blah.
specific
Yeah, I know, all
task.
the things.
And I'll say, Jim,
Explain that to the 5-year-olds. Well, little 5-year-old, it's purpose built for a
I don't
specific
need to
task.
explain this to
And
5-year-olds.
it
We're
weighs
talking.
this many out. They're going to be like, yeah, show me the one that looks like it's got grills.
It does look. This one in front of me does look like that. Let me finish. Number one, we're talking to adults here, and number two, I will say,
We're all 5.
we're acting like it. Stock similar format on my Tika. And
Yep.
that's not here right now.
Yeah.
Is it in
made
Ryan's
a
safe?
long range shot
Yeah.
on a backcountry backpack hunt, and it was lightweight, streamlined. Now, here's the other thing, though. I'm going to throw this out there, and this applies to some of these carbon fiber stocks and one of the chassis that we have on the table. It can be fully featured and lightweight.
That's true. I'll say this, though, about configuration. This is personal. And actually, this is stock selection in general, I think. So there are hunts, there are places, there are rifles that I refuse to run something like this. Is my personally owned MDT carbon.
It's pretty sweet.
They are super cool. That will not ever be featured on a rifle that I want minimal dimensions on, because it has maximum dimensions. It's a big stock. It's chunky. It's thick.
I didn't know they made this.
Yeah,
It's
they're-
got this
they're-
Arca Swiss in the carbon.
Yeah, they're
It's-
new last year. Yeah. So like the AG Privateer, which I think I have 5 of these. So like personal preference, this is how I like a rifle stock for a hunting gun. Asterisk. That is not technical. And by technical, I mean like I'm not setting out into a landscape that is going to dictate high angles, crazy shot distances, large calibers, things like that. Mark, you made a good point about 308, which you are sorely wrong
I
about.
know.
That's fine. I watched you shoot my 16-inch Tika to 700 yards. Anyhow.
That was
Is that the same day you drove your Tacoma?
No, that was just the other day.
Okay.
in the bear.
So, like, this is what I prefer, and it really is just handling characteristics. And by handling, I mean not necessarily shooting, because it's actually at the biggest detriment. I think you lack control on a minimally dimensioned rifle stock, but the size, the weight, the feel in hand, the very low profile. You know, if you go from heel to toe on the stock and you look at that as your max width, it's very compact. That's preferential to me in general. Whereas what I have slated for the carbon, and hopefully they hear my request and they release the long action version, is these are being put together as technical rifles. They're not my everyday rifle. They're not I'm going to my regular pronghorn hunt rifle because I like to use that as like a bullet testing and rifle blooding activity more than it is a very technical hunt. But I want 3 technical rifles and 3 different chambering set up exactly the same, so that the touch points, feel points, everything is identical between them. And then those will be reserved for those special occasions. But it is very personal, right? So like Mark has a number of different rifle stocks that are 2 or 3 tiers above the factory offering, and you're selecting materials, stock shape, geometry, or features on there to solve a problem, right? And then, Mike, you're picking chassis. I think, do you shoot mostly chassis now, or do you shoot?
My main competition stock is the foundation.
Now the foundation,
Yep.
right? Which, yeah, we can dig into
Yeah.
that later, but like it's all purpose driven, and it doesn't necessarily mean that one is better than the other, right? But then it's also very personal, right? Because I know guys that are like, dude, I won't hunt without a chassis, which I think is bonkers. Like,
Right.
Because I absolutely hate carrying them.
They are the worst to carry.
I think that the folding thing attached to the pack, which I have guns that fold. I have chassis. It's a novel concept. Deploy it quickly and quietly. Nope. Not for me, right? But these other guys are like, they're nuts about it. They just refuse to not hunt something like the MDT Hunt 26 because it folds to like half of its overall length.
Which that can be an asset.
100%. No, if you got it strapped to the side of your pack, even with a regular barrel length and a suppressor on there, you're still below your headline, probably, and you're not getting it hung up on the overhead and whatever you're on through.
You look like the Green Army man that was the radio guy when you were a kid.
Yeah.
And then that part always broke off.
Yeah. Or bent.
Yeah, bent.
Yeah.
I think for a lot of those guys that are, folding the stock, strapping it to their pack, that when they're doing that, they're covering big chunks of ground.
Yeah. Yep.
They're not not that anything can come up in the field, right? But you're not anticipating that surprise shot.
Yep.
You're thinking, we're going to get to this point, then we're going to glass something up. When we get to X amount of yards, or we think we're going to get close enough to get a shot, boom, that's when we're going to take it off and go into, final stock mode and hopefully get that opportunity. But, you can miss opportunities, no doubt. And I mean, even with a regular rifle or, just a standard rifle stock strapped to your pack, you're giving up some time there.
100%, yes. And I think you make a really important point in that, like if your infill is miles and you're not even to your hunting area, like you're at the trailhead and you have like a mountain to ascend and then you're in your hunting area, yeah, sure, it's probably not that big a deal. Because you have all this terrain to traverse first, and then you get into your hunting area. And it would be nice to have it just stowed and as tiny as possible.
I mean, I'll take, for instance, that hunt that I was on last August, where we shot that bear. I mean, I had my gun in my hands minimal amount of time. It was either on my pack, or if we got to a spot where we were glassing, where we thought we might see a bear, where we'd get a shot or something like that, I would take it off the pack and I would have it ready to go if we needed it, sitting beside me. Most of the time we weren't seeing that opportunity, so you go, put it back on your pack, go to the next spot.
Yeah.
You know what all these guys need? A Browning BLR takedown.
Sure.
Problem
It's a
solved.
compelling argument.
Problem solved.
I also don't like chassis because of the grip presentation. And maybe that's just like...
Isn't one of these chassis yours?
No. Maybe that's just like I got accustomed to a more open concept grip and then like never gave myself the training. It's like me and red dots on pistols. I'm really bad with them because I never train on them. And not because they're not a superior product, but I just don't train on them. So like I over control or over grip the rifle like with some distinct tendency because it's there. And it was different when it was my AR, right? And I was shooting multi-gun like, wow, I'm trying to break a 56-yard shot on an IPSC target. Yeah, big deal.
Right.
I need 2 on the Brown and that's it. But I don't seem to shoot them as well when I do it. So like our range shirt guns, we have a chassis system and then we have a couple of stocked versions and they range from like a adjustable sporter style stock to a something along the lines of this foundation from a geometry standpoint. I vastly prefer this.
Let me ask this question, though, to Mike, to you, and Ryan. To me, I look at that grip on the chassis, and it's just almost like the same thing done differently when we have these more vertical grip presentations, like on
Like this.
like that guy there, or most of these here. You got that Manners. You know,
I don't know, kind of, but not really.
it's just not like separate. It doesn't have.
If I can't wrap my thumb completely around the grip, like if I'm on the side of the wrist, I have less influence into the gun. Like I'm holding it with the bottom of the palm of my hand, like my pinky. Maybe I have another finger contacting it, and then I have my trigger finger. Whereas if I have this, like I'm inspired in bad form, right?
I was going to say you don't have to do that.
No, I'm inspired to just grip it.
Mike Howard.
Yeah.
What do you think? What are your thoughts on this?
And I think that comes down to how you shoot. I mean, if you're shooting, in a hunting situation, snapshots, you're not worried about finding you are, but you aren't worried about finding, the perfect rest or anything like that. I mean, you're wanting to grip the rifle more. For me, I'm thumb on the side. I'm completely opposite of Ryan. Everything I shoot, including my AR, is thumb on the side. Like, it's just habit for me now. A lot of these chassis, this one, if you look, this one actually has a thumb shelf on it. This one has a little bit of a thumb shelf. I run my thumb on the back of the foundation. That one, they all have a spot for the thumb on the same side. So that is strictly how I run my thumb all the time. So for me, that vertical grip, because my hand's always in that same position. This one's probably the odd one out for me, is that it has the more swept grip. But it's all about how you shoot. I can understand Ryan's liking the more traditional grip, but the way I shoot, the vertical grip makes the most sense.
Mike, talk me through, like, let's take this chassis for instance. I feel like we have like an ultralight, like a kind of like a medium, a moderate. This one's still pretty heavy actually, and then we have like an ultra heavy here. But maybe grab this one and just kind of talk us through some of the features of it. We can talk through why somebody might select a chassis for competition or hunting, and then some of the features that you might get on this that you might not get with like a more, even one of these super modern, high tech, traditional stocks, I guess.
Yep. So
I have a hard time calling it a traditional stock because really,
which one here, real quick, Mark, would you consider? At what point is it not a stock? We got to play that game at some point here. Is it a stock game? And we'll just go.
When I get to these,
and it'll be one of it's like playing the game where you're like hotter.
Well, this
cold,
one has a chassis in it.
Yep.
Sorry, I didn't. Anyway, back to the.
You're right.
So maybe we should define what do we mean by chassis, because that is confusing.
Yeah. Please.
So, okay, I have a Macmillan M40/HTG here. This is like the original long range rifle stock in a synthetic version, not counting like a Model 70 bull gun or the original M40 with the wood stock. So it is a material, so fiberglass or Kevlar or carbon fiber, or resin or whatever,
or wood.
Yep. And then into that material is inletted a pocket to receive the action. And in the case of the Macmillan here, we've got 2 aluminum pillars that run through the stock that then accept your action screws, provide some compression strength there so that you're not crushing it. And then we've got bedding compound on here, but that's a whole other thing. Whereas when you go to a chassis, and we'll pick on this Manners here because this is technically a stock, but with a chassis, we have this, in this case, aluminum block that is machined out, much like the inlet is on the stock, but is isolating the receiver from any influence of the stock. So we have this very strong, rigid, fixed point that the receiver is mating up to, that can't shift, that can't swell. Now, synthetic stocks really aren't going to swell. That because of the tolerancing that you can achieve machining metal versus a composite of some kind, is likely to have, a better fitment to it. And again, the idea here is isolation, so that we're not able to influence the barreled action at all, or we can't inspire shift. where I think colloquially these get lumped or confused is like when you look at this, you're like, oh, it's a chassis because it's all aluminum.
Right.
So like technically that's a chassis within a stock. That is a full aluminum chassis. And from the muzzle end to the buttstock and everywhere in between. But the whole premise behind this is it's dead. Nothing can translate. Forend pressure shouldn't translate. Axial pressure on the side shouldn't translate to anything. It's this super rigid material that should be impervious to forces. Now, I'll argue, because I've tested this ad nauseum down on the range, I can still get a chassis to show me POI shift with forend pressure and placement on it.
Depending on the chassis, I would agree.
Absolutely. The more material you add, of course, the more rigid it gets, and then that's mitigated or completely eliminated. But they're not totally impervious. So that's my spiel.
I think probably the easiest way to separate them would be, does it require bottom metal or not?
Sure.
I think if you want to pick one thing, that's probably the one that I point or I would look at. Your stocks all are going to require bottom metal. Chassis typically don't. So,
and for those listening, they're like bottom metal. So back on this Macmillan, you can see the cutout on the underside here. This is for a Remington 700 long action pattern. I would have to have another separate piece of in this case, machined aluminum that is going to act as the shouldering point for my action screws, as well as control my hinge floor plate and then provide me my trigger guard. That goes up in here, locks in place. Look at it like a shift point. And again, this is talking to the isolation of a chassis. Whereas conversely, for Mike's MDT here, when he's talking about it doesn't require bottom metal, the provision for the magazine is part of the whole system. The trigger guard is part of the whole system. The only articulating part here is the mag release, right? Which isn't going to do anything. So Mike can get this out of the box from MDT, drop in his Remington 700 short action or clone, bolt it together at the proper amount of torque, stick his, I'm assuming, AICS pattern magazine in there, and off you go. Whereas sometimes this requires fitment, sometimes it requires specialized bedding, sometimes it requires shims or some such thing. This is just click. Yeah.
A little bit more of a plug and play there for sure.
That's a really good distinction.
It's always been like the attraction for me to a chassis is because it's sort of like if I'm going to go to a nice event and I need to wear nice clothes and I haven't gotten them in like 7 years, I'm just going to go to JCPenney and I'm just going to get like the medium and just go. Because I don't have time to go to, Men's Warehouse or whatever and get fitted and then wait for them to tailor it and all that and then go back and see if nobody has time for that. So it's like, with a stock, there's a little more fiddling around to get the rifle and the stock to really marry up properly.
There can be, yeah. Like I just bedded a stock, actually another AG privateer this weekend, and maybe it would be just fine without it. I wasn't going to leave that to chance, and so 2-part epoxy, forward of the recoil lug and on the tang and squish it together. There's a release agent involved. I prayed and glued it together, and then it came apart, so life was good. Turned out really nice.
I called you over there and you're like, I think I just did my fastest and best bedding job.
Yeah. and I put 15 minutes into that. I'd be surprised. And when that thing came apart 4 hours later, I was like, oh, we did it. yeah, we did it. And looks great. But yeah, you're right. I mean, if you're somebody who's really trying to squeeze out the most from a lot of rifle stocks, not all, but a lot, things like proper fitment, either by bedding or adding pillars or, fitting your bottom metal correctly may be a consideration. Just as many times, though, I bought stock A, B, or C from, manufacturer X, Y, or Z, took off my Tikka's factory plastic stock, put this thing on 45 and 40 inch-pounds of torque on the front and rear action screws, and then I'm off to the races, and there's no problem. Or at least not a problem big enough that I'm worried about it.
Right.
Whereas the chassis just eliminates all that completely.
Yep.
Mike, you got some, doodads and whiz bangs on this thing here. talk through some of the things that we see on this that maybe you might not see on some of these other ones.
Sure. So, I mean, in general, I think chassis, people are being drawn to them for configurability, like the ability to set it up the way I want it. It's perfect. I mean, this one, like you mentioned, has a few extra features on it. Night vision bridge. Not all of them are going to have that. It does have the extended ARCA or pick rail on the front. MPA did a cool little thing with their little, I don't even know what they call it. Basically, when you hold this one, it allows you to get your finger in the same spot every time. So I run on their gas pedal, I think is what they call it, on the thumb, and then this positions my finger the same for a 90-degree trigger pull every time, which is a really cool little add-on.
That was one of those things we were looking at this pre-podcast, and you're like, oh, check this feature out. And I was like, whoa. Yeah. Like you said, it promotes consistency. It's like an anchor point for your finger.
Yep.
And it just really, it just really isolated that trigger press. I was like, that's interesting. Never would have thought of that. I can see how it works. And it's kind of, I think it is a little thing, but definitely tangible difference.
Yeah, it's one of those once you have it, I think it's you really realize how nice it is. And I was going to talk a little bit too about, we talked about the weights and everything that Scott has in here. The ability to balance a rifle, especially on the PRS side, getting that rifle so when you put it on the bag, it all comes down to NPA, your natural point of aim. When I'm on that rifle, it's there for me every single time. I don't want to have to mess around with my rifle. I want it there. And so when I pull the trigger, I know I'm not influencing it weird. So the ability for it to balance. So, I mean, Scott has all these weights. Before we pulled the barreled action out of it this morning, I mean, that thing balances phenomenally. My foundation, I have some weights in the front of it. It's still not enough. My next barrel on that rifle is going to be a little heavier, trying to get a little bit more front heavy. But the ability, like with the MPA, it's the same thing. I don't have any weights in it right now. But this one has the ability to put inside weights, outside weights. You could add several pounds onto all these chassis.
It's one of those things a lot of people probably don't realize until they've shot a gun that's really well balanced. Because when you do, you realize, maybe with your other guns, how much you've been having to use your muscles, whatever, and all that, like just influence the gun just to stay steady and straight off of a, any kind of like a barricade, off of the windowsill of your deer blind.
Yep.
And then when you shoot a balanced gun and you just set it on a barrier and it just sits there and you don't have to do anything at all except just like kind of move it until the crosshairs are on your target and then just pull the trigger. It's, whoa, that was nice.
Well, and we were talking about also, like, if you have a rifle in one of these chassis, like we're talking about here, whether it's, this one of yours, Mike, or this one of Scott's, that, I guess I'll even speak particularly towards Scott's, that has just all this, it's heavy to start. It's got all these extra weights added to it, but it balances really nice. It's probably fun to shoot. It's probably pleasant to shoot, so you probably shoot it a lot. It's a super accurate system. I look at this and I go, well, that's not what I would want to take hunting. And maybe it's not, but if a person wants to, competitively shoot and shoot long range and do all those things with a gun that's configured this way, and maybe you are hunting the Midwest and you're in like a, an agricultural type situation where you potentially have, heck, Jim, at yours, person could get like an 800-yard shot, but you're not hiking that far. You're not toting the thing around. You might be shooting it from a really nice deer blind, or you could be, shooting off a tripod or whatever. Again, really not a big weight penalty to bring a tripod.
Yep.
Couple 100 yards to a half mile, whatever. You're day hunting. I could just see where it actually does make a lot of sense, and you are extending your effective range, and you are taking a very controlled and precise shot at game. And like, who cares that the rifle's a little bit heavier? You shoot it well, and you don't have to tote it that far.
Yeah, there's a tipping point though. There's like, you get to the point where you're so heavy now you lose wieldiness, and you're trying to start and stop something that's absolutely chunktastic, and that
I agree.
yeah, and so like
Well, like what?
polarizing example.
I mean, if you're taking, you could take that 400 yards across the field to a deer blind.
Oh, sure, you can.
But then you
but
transition to a deer drive later in the day.
or you're in the blind and you need to switch ports and windows.
Okay.
Yeah.
The PRS guys do it with those guns all the time.
True.
Not out of deer blinds.
Oh, I've been in
What's
some
the
pretty small
man
lots before.
out of a school bus, out of a
Yep.
helicopter hull?
Yep.
From okay. Oh,
For some people, a school bus is their deer.
that's true. I argue that my 6-pound, 2-ounce Kimber Mountain Ascent is more wieldy in a confined space than
I will give you that.
Yes,
anything in
you
that.
are. Yeah, you are correct.
yeah, and so yeah, I think you can over-index. But you know, Mike, you made a good point. Like, you've done some hunts where you're running the full kit
Mm-hmm.
and you're clipped onto a tripod, and like, the name of the game was not portability, it was
Nope.
stability, and you know, moving out at very extended distances, and it was the tool for the job.
Yep.
Yeah. Whereas my, you know, super light Howa 6 arc, well, it had been left in the dust. 350 yards later, you're still being able to do things, and I'm sitting there just watching.
Yep.
So
There is like the two extremes on the spectrum here on the table right now.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people see them, and you might go for them, but each person, I think, starts on one side of the extreme. You, for example, you start on this side,
The ultralight.
the ultralight. That's your baseline.
Yep.
And then, given certain circumstances, you think, okay, I'd like to add this to that, you know, or I'd like to add whatever. And so then you might end up here. So this stock that I'm holding right now, which is the MDT carbon thing with the Arca Swiss molded into the carbon in the forend, very cool. This is like somebody who started here and then wanted to move more towards that. Whereas then there's some people who start here, they're like, okay, that is like the apple of my eye, but I understand that in some instances I'm going to need a little bit less than that. I'm going to have to go more that way. And so then they end up here.
sure.
So it's, you know, like, I think that's kind of, you start each individual. And I've shifted. I used to start at this end, and now I'm starting to move more towards, I'm still not in full-on beige territory. But but now I'm starting to look more at these.
The
Because
question
chassis are so,
cold.
they're cool, but they're just dead.
Yeah. The question I have is, which one do you actually, if we're in the context of hunting? Because I think for competition, and we're going to get to Mikey's foundation stock later, and like what material science has come into play here. And so if we look at the context of hunting, which one actually is more versatile? Like, run 100 different scenarios, from the deer drives through the thick Wisconsin woods to the wide open plains of Wyoming and Montana. And
If I was going to look at the table, I'd pick two, and I'd pick the manners that we have on the 300 Super Wisdom there, restocked, FYI, and
That's a cool stuff.
yeah, we it looks pretty sweet, and then or the MDT, like, to me, like, they're still very fast, functional, lightweight, but like long range feature rich rifle stocks. So like, I could go on a deer drive with that. I could do whatever the heck I wanted with it. But then if I need to take an extended range shot, like, I've got the customizability there to do what I need to do.
This is where the lines are blurring.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yep.
Like, look at this thing.
Yep. I'll tell you why.
Minus the vertical.
Well, it's not really vertical.
No, I know. I'm saying, so
Yeah.
it doesn't have that. It doesn't have like a gas pedal or the cool trigger guard, you know, finger helper thing. I can't think of the word. Whatever the
Finger
word
helper is correct.
Finger
Yeah, that's
helper.
common vernacular.
It doesn't have those couple of things, but I mean, it has Arca Swiss. It has QD sling points. It's got adjustable cheek piece, adjustable buttstock. It's got carbon fiber. It's lightweight. So I guess the only thing is it would be completely counterintuitive to slap all the weights on here to then go for the balance and, reducing some of the violence of the recoil. So that would be counterintuitive to do here. But you have so many of the features that these have now on these stocks. But that's pretty crazy.
Yeah. And so what drew me to this? Because it's not attractive to me. A big thing also for me is aesthetics. Like, I like a rifle to look a particular way.
You're all about that form over the function.
I still do pretty good. But I like a rifle to look a particular way. And maybe that's just because I've not had some sort of challenge hunting, we'll just say the West, with a stock like this ever.
Right.
Like it's never bit me in the butt. I'm also structuring my rifle so that when I am manipulating this kind of stock and rifle paired, like the things line up as best as they possibly can. And mostly what I'm getting at is like comb height, whether it's an adjustable cheek piece or otherwise. So aesthetics are important to me. This stock is ugly. And like I own two of them. And it doesn't look like I like, but what it does do is
I am a little over sponge painting at this point.
Yeah. I wanted raw carbon. They just didn't have it available. So I had to pick something.
Hold on.
Yeah.
If that was raw carbon,
Yeah.
it would have been more pleasing to your eye.
Yes.
So this look.
Yeah. Absolutely. That. The sponge painting, not for me.
Fair.
I'm going to see if I can take it off.
But you... Okay.
I still like the sponge painting.
It's fine. It's not my style.
Your style is an enigma.
I'm sorry, James. I like.
Would you put a full raw carbon stock on your high wall?
No, that's sacrilege.
Obviously.
Yeah, this is different. It depends. So, but what drew me to it is like there are things that I like in a technical rifle stock, and one of them is the ability to precisely set my comb height. You've heard me on this production before talk about how difficult it is for shooters on the American marketplace to actually get a rifle that fits well. And there are just too many provisions. And again, I'm hyper particular about this, but I draw a lot from the archery market and how a bow should be set up for success. And so your draw length, your anchor points, so many things go into making that work. All of those things should also go into a rifle to make it fit well, which is precisely why you run, 2-axis adjustable stocks or sometimes even 3-axis adjustable stocks because fitment matters. So an adjustable comb, I think, is a big deal, but I detest vertical grips. So this is, she's 90. I don't like that. I don't like how they feel.
Oh, okay. Continue.
I don't like how they feel.
You like them?
I don't like how they carry. They're obtrusive. And again, maybe this is because I've probably got
And
more.
they smell bad.
This is,
Yeah, and one time they kicked me in the shin.
So MDT put this different grip angle on it. It's still pretty abrupt in comparison to a lot of the other stocks that I run, but it's more open than, say, any of my Macmillan A3s or A5s, or I've got some AG composites like their Alpine Hunter. That's a full vertical, looks a lot like a Macmillan A3, and which I just detest carrying. I hate that vertical presentation. So they gave me this more open grip. The integrated Arca rail, it's neat. I've started doing a fair bit more tripod shooting, and so I have provisions to mount several different rifles on my tripod in several different manners. Well, I run an Arca Swiss head. I can literally clip this in. I can adjust whether I need some more angle control or less, or I want the pivot or balance point at a specific spot. It's a nice to have and an added negligible weight, right? As opposed to bolting on an aluminum, even though it's light, you're still tacking on 3 to 7 ounces, depending on the length of that Arca rail. It checked all the boxes, and then it came in at a finish weight under 29 ounces, which is light. So as configured, even with all of the spacers in there, this is like 28.3.
I mean, that's where I was going back to earlier. You're getting a lot of these features, but you're not paying
Taking the weight
a
penalty.
weight penalty.
Yeah. And is it,
Or if there is a weight penalty, what you're gaining is worth it.
yeah. And is it carryable in the sense of like deer drive? So I'm gonna be like, port arms, waiting for a deer to bust from the understory. Yeah, absolutely. It feels very similar to like my competition clay shotguns that I've run over the years, like from a grip presentation and just how it fits. And so it's very likely fast. I still don't think I'm gonna abandon it. Like this just carries so much lighter. But
No, I mean, like my Deer and Wisdom that I put it together because I wanted a extremely modern, lightweight, precision hunting rifle, but I wanted it to have a traditional form factor.
Sure.
And it's like, okay, that's my baseline.
Yep.
I want one of those. And then I'm probably going to step outside of that. And I guess I have with some other guns too.
Yeah.
But like, and I guess where I kind of laughed a little bit, you're like, I don't like those traditionals. And then on that MDT, it's kind of, you're like, well, wait a minute. It's like, well, no, technically it's not vertical. It's like, it's pretty vertical.
it's fairly vertical. The Macmillan M40, which is very open, is more abrupt.
Inverted.
All right.
I mean, what do I
I
know?
can see it a little bit.
What do I know?
Your boring stock does fit really nice.
Oh, absolutely. That's why I picked them.
These stocks do. When you talk about carrying them, like you just put them in your hand and you want to just start moving.
Correct. Yeah. And
Whereas these, you hold it. Even this one, it's so lightweight, and it is more of an open grip, like you described. But it's the angularity to everything.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like it was made to be put in
The
a
hand.
hand.
yeah. And
They do feel really good to just like hold down at your side and just like walk around. You just feel feel.
And then again, a lot of that is an aesthetic. Like I just like the lines. I like the looks. But for me personally, from a hunter's perspective, because I don't shoot competition rifle like Mike does, like I stop there. That's as technical as I get in any stock that I'm going to go hunt with. Not to say like this is a Macmillan U10. They're actually pretty lightweight, especially when you get them set up with edge. You unbolt that Arca rail, maybe you go with a shorter rail on there, and you're not like, I own Macmillan hunting stocks with adjustable cheek pieces that weigh more than this.
I think that one does have the edge fill.
Yeah, it's not heavy. So in fact, I should have brought it. I've got a gray bow that came off of a Remington 700 AWR that I have. That stock weighs 40 some ounces and it looks like this. And that's just fill. But for me personally, and like my taste, this is where I stop. If I do enter the realm of competitive shooting, which Mike implores me to do on a nearly weekly basis,
One of these days.
I think I would be a fool to think I'm going to go out there and actually be competitive with tools like this. Like that's where that's what that's for. Now, if I do that, Mike, it's a big if. I am going to go out there with like a Tikka in an AG privateer and a Spartan bipod and a Spartan Springbok, and I'm going to do my darndest with a real life hunting rifle. When they say NRL hunter,
Isn't that a thing now? Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
did they game it up a little bit?
You're still running. I mean, this is the stock I run or my chassis for NRL Hunter. I have run the Macmillan. That was initially what it was for.
Yeah.
And then I got the Hunt 26, which is lighter. Yep.
they're game.
Yeah.
You got it. Game's gonna game.
You see guys,
Hey, you want to win, Ryan?
right? I've seen guys pull trophies, stock Tikka,
Yep.
7mm mag.
Yep.
Like, yeah.
I love it.
It's harder.
That's
Hand
good to hear.
feeding because internal
Yeah.
internal magazine. Yep.
It's harder, right?
Yeah.
I want to talk about material science. Can we talk about that?
I will say, and this is often the case, Ryan, I agree with you from an aesthetic standpoint. For hunting, that's kind of where it's not a hard stop for me, but that's kind of where my mind goes as far as form factor. Now, I will say, though, when I was looking at this MDT Hunt 26,
Yeah.
which is just an ultralight carbon fiber chassis, it's got some, aluminum on there as well. But
Magnesium.
that's magnesium.
Oh,
See,
so you don't want to take that out in salt water after you scratch it?
I mean, I could see where this makes sense. This Hunt 26, I can see where it makes sense.
Oh, it represents a pretty wild piece of equipment.
I've only seen them online. I've never actually held one, and it is incredibly light.
Yeah, they're nimble. They're nimble.
And that one's a little heavier with the folding stock, but the non-folder.
Oh,
is
you can get
actually
it with
20
a non-folder too.
Yeah, and that's the one that's actually 26 ounces. Yep.
Nice.
You were talking a lot
Is
about
this still
grip
called the Hunt
angle.
26, though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're talking about grip angle and carryability, and it got me thinking. Like you're choosing based off of how the rifle carries in the field.
Yep.
Me, I like a vertical grip because of how it shoots
Sure.
more so than how it carries.
Ridiculous.
It's right. I know, right? Two very different use cases.
No, and that's very true. Like that's very true, and that's why like the guns that we have on the range that we're seeking precision when we're doing range certification. They're configured to be, as controllable as possible without being over controlled, and then also to mitigate recoil and to inspire consistency. So that shot over shot over shot, when we're down there trying to validate what a rifle scope's accuracy potential is, the equipment that we're utilizing is designed to do exactly that. I get what you're saying is very true. It's a thing where I will carry that gun way more than I'll shoot it.
Yep.
Yeah,
Where I'm for the
shooting
most part
more than you're carrying.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is why the weight is advantageous and doesn't bother you. Whereas for me, it's like, oh my gosh.
I mean, I think that's a really big point for a person to take into consideration.
Oh, yeah.
And it just goes back to our first question all the time. How are you going to be using it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so elementary. It's
Right. But you look at that ratio and you go, well, then maybe these types of things mean more than these types of things.
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah. Well, it's we've talked about it as well before. If you're the type of person who you've forgotten more of the guns you own than you remember, like Ryan, you can have specialized firearms. But if you need to have one that's going to do it all, it's where some of these hybridized things really come into play.
True story.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Oh, which is a lot of people. Which is even, it's like I don't. My collection pales in comparison to Ryan's probably, but even still, it's like sometimes you get a gun and you just think to yourself, well, I want to take this out more than just once a year. Like I want to take it to the range. And Ryan also enjoys the punishment of shooting lightweight guns with large calibers too. So not everybody's like that either. In fact, if you take anything away from this, it's that Ryan is the odd one. You're not weird. Ryan's weird.
That's true.
But yeah, sometimes you're just like, well, okay, maybe I got more than one gun. I can get a specialized gun, but this is a new gun I'm going to be excited about. I want to shoot it more. Then maybe that's why you...
That could be. I generally do think in terms of how can I make this one thing do a lot of things.
Sure.
Yep.
Sure.
You're talking about material science.
Yeah,
right?
material sciences. Materials and what they are. So forever, wood was the gold standard. And then we added pillars and we added bedding compounds. We've got some extra goodies in there to give us, a distinct performance advantage. And then we moved into synthetics, and whether that was carbon fiber or Kevlar or plastic or whatever, we had a better solution, fiberglass, from a stability standpoint, and that held true from the late '60s, early '70s to not that long ago, like a couple of years ago. And we got better. Like, for instance, this stock has a carbon shell, and then underneath that shell is another material that's very lightweight, still strong, but it's not like full carbon fiber. I have a full carbon fiber stock, and it's really nifty. but it's not common. Like
Which one is that?
It's the stocky stock that's on that Howa. It's just a carbon.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
That's what I need to get from mine.
Yeah.
Howa.
Poking holes in them, like when they're just that. A lot of times you'll just fill them with a real lightweight foam, and that's more of a sound deadening thing, so they don't sound like a drum when you hit them. When you add things like Kimber. So I've got a Kimber Mountain Ascent. Mark, you've used, I've used. I inletted a Spartan gunsmith adapter in there. And when you poke through that thin veil of a shell, what you are met with is basically AB foam on the inside of that stock.
Interesting.
And so I'm applying very subtle pressure to my drill or my drill press, and then I have a bit stop on there. And all of a sudden it's like, boop, I pop through and it's like, oh, please don't go through the barrel channel. And like I look and it's just dust that's coming out. It's like, oh no. So I had to like hog that out and like get a nice, reminded me of like if you've got a wound that has a bunch of infected tissue in it, you got to like get that, bride that out. And then I had to fill it with bedding compound and then set that in there and then hope that it stayed. And it did.
Now
was
I
just
get
fine.
it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Anyway, you're being facetious, aren't you?
You too, right?
I mean,
Didn't make sense until I pictured a pussy, disgusting wound.
Yeah.
I finally got to that. I think I follow enough.
Okay.
When did the antiseptic come out?
At that point.
Got it.
Yeah, you get all that crud out of there and then
Did you fill your stock with Neosporin?
close with a bedding compound. Yeah, basically the same thing.
Yeah.
Magic. And then of course we get into some pretty wild stuff like the magnesium in the chassis. Like this carbon has a magnesium insert. This is a magnesium chassis. But what I think is really cool is micarta and laminates. And this is old tech that became very new. And I think Foundation was probably the one who brought it mainstream. I mean, micarta stocks have been around for a long time. A lot of times you see them in like very niche sports. But these guys, I mean, it wasn't that long ago. It was a couple of years ago all of a sudden.
Yeah.
They're just like the dudes.
Yeah.
And so this is a laminate material, wood-based material with epoxy or resin impregnated. And if you look at it, like up on any of the features where you can see milling cut through there, you can see the individual layers.
Yep.
And the result is this super dense and absolutely harmonically dead stock. And
I can see why that would be the case.
yeah.
Yep.
And
Yeah, they're wild to shoot.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Like-
noticeable.
And it's just
It's so much more dead.
yeah.
Yep.
Like
interesting.
there's no flexion, there's no bounce. Like that gun, that stock was originally on Graham's 308.
Yep.
Did you buy the whole?
No, just the
Okay,
stock.
just the stock.
Yep.
So the first day he had it on there, and it wasn't a super heavy build when he first configured it. He didn't have the weights on there. I don't think he had the Arca rail on there.
Nope.
And it wasn't a super heavy profile barrel either. I don't remember exactly what contour he went with, but when you shot it, it's like, huh. It did not feel like a 308. Not that 308 has a ton of recoil, but it certainly did not feel like a 308. And it's just, I don't know how better to describe it than like, you pull the trigger and it's just like, blah,
Yeah.
Just soaks it up.
gone.
Wow.
Yes. And ultimately, is that why you made that selection?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And have you changed your mind on that at all?
No. No. It was funny. Scott Parks actually got himself one, and he came to me after he shot. He's like, "That is awesome."
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. They got some lightweight versions too that I kind of, they're on my bucket list, but not quite as light as the MDTs. But
Sure.
It'd be fun to add in the suppressor aspect to it and
Yeah.
just continue to
Is it?
deaden the.
I mean, is it dead? Is it mitigating recoil as
Yeah.
well,
Well, it's
or just
I
vibration?
don't know if you want to call it
Yeah.
mitigating or dissipating or
It just seems like the energy is just kind of boom.
Yeah.
Like it's just soaking it up.
Yep.
You know,
Well,
because I
yeah.
can picture it happening.
Well, recoil it's kind of like in cars when they talk about NVH, noise, vibration, and harshness. I think is the H.
sure
Where like there's more to it than just
push.
a push. because there's also like the snappiness to it.
Right.
There's the vibration of the stock, I'm sure. And so if you can remove, you know, I mean, the suppressor sort of takes care of the N, and this probably takes care of the V. So then if you have what else? Yeah, H, the harshness or whatever. I'm sure there's many different senses that you're dealing with.
Yeah, and it's like muzzle braked guns versus suppressed guns. Like I ran brakes on many rifles for many years before I got into suppressors. And they had less recoil, but they were more concussive, so they were somehow more disruptive.
Yeah.
Right.
Despite moving me significantly less. Whereas I put a can on there and I deal with more like rearward
Movement.
conventional recoil, but because I've taken the muzzle blast and the report out of the equation, like 2 of those 3 senses or sensory perceptions being, you know, alleviated beats having more felt rearward recoil.
It's almost like, and maybe it's not apples to apples, but you're removing some of the harshness of the experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Whereas these things, what is also cool about these micarta products is they're as stable as an aluminum chassis.
Yep.
And that material's density is so incredible. And then like it's not being affected by moisture like a conventional wood product would be. Because of the impregnation of that epoxy or that glue or whatever it is that they put in there. And then they're compressed. So they're super strong.
Yep.
You don't have issues then if you get nicks and scratches on it and stuff that doesn't somehow, because it's all the way through, right?
Yeah.
It's not just on the surface.
Full impregnation. Yep. So it's not like the
Like a
5/8
laminate or something like that when you scratch the outside of the laminate. Or
you know, a lot of those laminates though are also an impregnated product.
oh, they are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or just by process are, because there's a pressure thing that's going on there. But like we'll go to the extreme end and we go plywood, right?
Right.
So plywood's great, but like plywood rots. And when it rots, it's going to rot at the cut and then it's going to open up and then that's just going to get worse and worse and it's going to turn to dust like my roof was. 54 sheets on my roof, 53 were replaced. Yeah.
Hey, you know what?
Yeah.
That one.
I know. He's really holding out.
Get a Medal of Honor for that one.
I know.
I'm not gonna lie. I think I'd have sprung for 54.
I wouldn't have at that point.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, it is.
You have
it
a
is
week again. I'll point exactly where it is.
If it's at sheet 54, you're going to be upset.
at that point in time, it was done. They just handed me the bill. I was like, oh boy. But again, micarta is not new. Like, not new at all. And we're talking half a century or older than that. But to see it in this form, I think is especially fantastic because of what it is offering the shooter. And those are tangible benefits. Like it's a thing. It's a very real thing. And you can shape them any way you want, like from a manufacturer's perspective. So imagine having a giant, I'll call it a billet for lack of a better adjective at this moment or better term.
This is like sheets of wood.
I want you to think of a block. So like go to the heel and the toe of the stock and then just extend those squarely forward.
Right.
And then there's your blank.
Yeah, but what's the blank made out of? Is it sheets of wood
Yeah.
that are then glued and pressured together with this
Effectively.
epoxy resin
Yeah.
or something like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
But not so plywood.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you take this block of this material and then you shape it any way, shape, or form that you want. So like, whereas we'll pick on this Manners here. There's a mold that has to be produced first. Very expensive to do. You're very likely using billet aluminum. You're carving that mold. It's huge and it's a 2-piece mold. And we're talking potentially 100 hours of machine time and finish work to get it right.
Yeah, 'cause there's bags and I assume that there's like maybe, I don't know, do they use like the vacuum type of carbon fibering when it comes to
Depends.
stocks?
Yeah,
Like
depends
they do
on
in automotive.
Yep, on how they're doing it, right? So you have this mold and your mold defines your shape. And that's it. Like you can change your mold at the cost of who knows how much that mold would cost.
Well, and like, for instance, like the stock that the Super Wisdom's in
Yep.
is different than that one.
Yep.
Different mold.
Yep.
You just needed a different mold to come up with,
Yeah.
to essentially add different features.
And then that mold is a deteriorating entity as well. So like the more it gets handled, the more it's subjected to heat or nicks or dings, that's gonna show up. Like look at that as the negative photo to the finished photo here. And then that's the constraint of your design. Whereas this, technically it's a CNC program. Like you draw it and then the CNC machine says, okay, subtractive manufacturing, done.
Really?
Yeah. That's a very big generalization, but effectively that's it.
Are these expensive compared to carbon fiber?
They're expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, different, by and large, a different application.
Yeah.
Pretty darn big weight penalty with this too.
Yeah.
True.
Like it's doing a lot of these
Yep.
amazing things that
Yep.
we're talking about. You're paying the price on the weight side.
Correct.
Mike said that there's lightweight ones.
They do have a couple lightweight options, more
Really?
in that 30 to 34 or 5 ounce range.
Yeah.
It's relative, but
Yeah.
Okay.
Which, I
It's
mean,
lighter.
Well,
well, I mean, yeah,
quite
you
a
add
bit.
what,
pull a Tika synthetic stock off.
8?
It's getting close to 30. And so,
Again, that's where you start to get to these points of what am I going to place
Yeah.
Right.
the weight on?
yep,
What
absolutely.
am I okay with? Because, I'd love to shoot one of those and see how that feels
Sure.
compared to a regular synthetic stock.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
When you look at cost, though, like go online right now, these are between $1,600 and $1,800 for one of these. Very high tech materials. These are comparably priced, maybe a little less. These are $1,600. This with all the gizmos that Scotty has in their books, near $2,000. So they all are very premium. Like these two are the most cost effective, and this is still $800. So
Right. And yeah, we probably should have been kind of naming those as we went through, just because not everybody's watching. But
sure.
Isn't carbon fiber supposed to be kind of like a dead compound in
It
terms of
is.
vibration and things like that? But it's still not quite as much as this.
Nowhere near.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and you look too, like MDT puts some special foam in those too to help to some degree.
With that,
But
yeah.
I mean, that mic is just naturally
It's
deadening.
different, built different.
So I've yet to bolt this to a barreled action, but Matt Peterson over at Peterson Precision got some in right away, and he said, "Hey, did you hear about these stocks?" I said, yeah.
you're talking about the MDT right now.
Yeah, the MDT carbon. And he said, whatever that foam stuff is, it works. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? He's like, I can't really describe it. It just feels different in a good way.
Let me see that one again.
Like from like a recoil mitigating perspective. But like I would think there would be no contest, and like obviously mass is going to be different. But if you had a micarta stock or you had something like this, well, even then, like I have some Sniper Film Macmillans, that's as heavy as they get, right?
Yep.
And I don't know if they put concrete in them or what they do, but they are thick. They don't feel like this does.
No.
And they're comparably massed. Marky likey.
And he likes that sponge paint.
I'm still into it.
Is there a guy at the factory with a sponge?
I think so. Yeah, I think. Hopefully his name's Robert.
I like that.
Yeah, I did that for you, James.
Appreciate that.
Yeah,
You could never fire
I'm picking
the
up what
sponge
you're laying down.
the sponge guy named Robert.
No.
You can't.
no.
Doesn't matter how bad of a job he
It's
does.
not-
You
it's
can't
not even-
fire him unless you found another sponge guy named Robert.
The situation at hand becomes a social one.
It does.
Yeah,
Now, you could also go the other direction too on materials and say the aluminum chassis have a little bit more of a tuning fork
yep.
type feel to them
Yep.
at times.
Yeah.
But the rigidity is what most people are looking for when they go this route. I mean, they want something stiff. They want to be able to put a bunch of weight on it, not, to your point from earlier, being able to influence point of impact by how much you load into your bipod or
Sure.
whatever it is you're on. So, I mean, some folks don't like these because they have that tuning fork
Yeah.
type feel to them.
But to what Mike's talking about was load weight onto different parts of the chassis, assuming that it's a well-designed chassis. If Mike took a hasty position on a barricade or a tripod or something and had his contact point on the very distal end of the stock on shot number 1, moves it closer, he's not likely to see that shift because this thing is a solid block of aluminum. And then also, like, good luck breaking it,
Yeah.
right? Where I have seen these snap. I've seen them snap at the wrist. I've seen them snap at the fore end, just forward of the recoil lug. Like, there is a strength component to this. Same thing with these, right? So when you look at,
Like
what's
snapping when, like I fell down a hill and landed on my rifle.
Yep,
Like,
slip, fell
Just
down a
gripped
hill.
it too hard.
Yeah. So like weird torsion situation. Like you can break that stock. You will break things off of your gun before you break that stock. And same thing with like the MDT. Like this fore end assembly is held on by a couple of small
Yeah.
fasteners.
3 screws.
And like a hard enough impact on something, and you risk damaging it. Whereas that full billet chassis is effectively impervious to damage. Like,
Sure.
yeah.
On the hunt side of things, one thing that has where I've not been drawn to like a lot of chassis is like this one here. It's got a lot of metal on it. I am predominantly hunting, not predominantly, but oftentimes hunting in cold weather situations.
Yeah.
Touching metal in the cold is not kind to your hand. As much as I was talking up, the not the modularity, but the things where you can customize this rifle and bolt this on and bolt that on, and some of them fold. There's also a lot of screws and things that are attached there that could potentially loosen over time, or and I guess I don't have any personal experience with that, so maybe that's like a boogeyman component, right?
Yeah. No, I don't think so. I mean, we've had that happen.
I mean, I guess that's where I go from on the hunt side, where I might be a long way off from, fixing something.
Yeah.
Something like that Manners or the MDT, where I'm like, wow, this is super feature rich and it's got a lot of stuff that I like, but it's also simple at the same time,
Sure.
or more simple.
No.
So, I think that is a big feature in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, your Arca rail can't even fall off this.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I was
If
worried
it did, you
about.
have a problem.
I was worried about that the carbon fiber Arca rail. I've used this one almost exclusively through 2 inner hunter matches, and I mean you can see I've put a tripod on it, but I mean it's.
This says it as well. I didn't even notice that.
Yep.
It's
Yeah,
carbon fiber. It's Is it very strong under? It's very strong under compression,
but not
shear or
correct. So crack, but
Yeah.
not crunch.
right.
Yes.
So yeah, if you tighten something down onto this, it's gonna be just fine.
And how tight do you need to go? I mean,
Tight enough, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I really like the thumb screws on the cheek piece. They send with it like these little bite screws. So you can find your cheek piece height, remove the thumb screw, install a bite screw, and it recesses into that pocket.
yeah. See, if you're describing Mark's worst case scenario, though, then you're miles from nowhere and you don't have a little hex key in your backpack, and then your little screws come out and your cheek piece goes.
There's a
And then
proper
you think to
application
yourself,
of
my whole hunt is ruined. I can't hunt anymore.
there's a product called VC3 Vibratite that should prevent that from occurring.
That's your stuff, right?
Oh, VC3. I tried it, it doesn't
like
taste
a
good.
spokesperson for them.
It's one of the only thread locking compounds that doesn't have super negative side effects when used improperly. Because you really can't goof it up.
Like what? What negative side effects does blue Loctite have?
Wet torque.
So VC3 doesn't have that? How
Not,
does it not have
not so much. Also, Loctite is, if you use it properly. So if you put it on wet and you run it in wet, there's some lubricistic property to it. But Loctite is an anaerobic fluid. And if you look at the original thing, like it should be put into a blind hole. What is a blind hole on a firearm? Nothing. Your receiver, like to receive your rail, like all that oil that everybody puts on their guns and all the, debris and stuff, it just goes right back through that tiny little 648.
And the blue Loctite doesn't like that, huh?
No.
It just
No. Sometimes it'll cure, like if it's a good tolerance
it
between.
retreats.
Yeah. Well, it just never cures. You just stuck with the liquid.
Oh, I
Yeah.
see.
Whereas like VC3, like if you take Loctite and squeeze it out on a table and you come back tomorrow, it's still a liquid. Whereas you take VC3 and you squeeze it out on a table, you come back 10 minutes later and it's a solid. And you're like, oh, that's nice, but it's serviceable. It's not like a UV cure resin where it's like, well, we need fire to get that broken loose. But if you apply it right, it's a very, very good, I'm not even going to call it a thread. It's an anti-vibration loosener.
What about one of the
stopper.
other 6,000 Loctites?
It's all bond strength. And then
But it's all
application.
the same thing, huh?
Yeah, as far as I know. We had
Because
red,
I got, like, in the shop, I got blue stuff, red stuff that I never touched, green
Yeah.
stuff.
yeah, we had red gel at work.
Did you have the green stuff?
We had green stuff. That was for compression fittings. Yeah.
That explains why. Okay, anyway.
But the red gel bottle like this was like $600, and you put on like a syringe with a hook tip applicator. I'm talking like, doop, that's it. And whatever you are about to put together will never come apart.
That's what I'm talking about.
Very impressive. Yeah. I was not allowed to apply the.
Did you see that Tesla fixed a guy's Cybertruck with like a glue?
No.
Yeah, like his hitch broke off or something like that. I don't know. They seem like a horrible vehicle to me, but his hitch like broke off.
So they glued it.
And then they have this, they're space people, right? So they have this space glue, and they like cleaned up the edges and then just like glued it back together. And the guy tested it, and he like hung his Cybertruck by the hitch
No kidding.
that was glued on, and it held for his like YouTube test. That's all. This is all I saw. I know nothing else about it. So somebody, I'm sure,
We thought Flex Seal was
we're
good.
talking about materials. Yeah, Billy Mays would be having a heyday.
Yeah.
With space glue.
You can cut a hole in your boat and you can Flex Seal it shut.
Yeah.
Put a screen door in there.
Imagine cutting your boat in half
Yeah.
and then gluing
gluing
it back
it.
together
Just
and,
put a little
and
glue on
floating
it.
down the river.
Totally
I mean,
fine.
you guys forgot the sharks.
Oh, yeah.
There
yeah.
were sharks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't seal the sharks, but like you
Oh,
said, the
right.
screen door in the boat and then
Sharks.
in the shark infested
And you want to know
waters.
what's funny? When they did that, it wasn't jumping the shark.
But
It wasn't, because that was quality television.
You're right.
Quality infomercial. It's still real to me.
Can we say that probably chassis are more useful in the competitive shooting world than stocks, notwithstanding things like this? Or personal
What
prep,
competition?
or
What
personal
about
preference.
F-class?
Oh, does anybody shoot chassis in F class?
I don't know if they shoot chassis. I mean, they shoot. I mean, their stocks are not your hunting stock
No,
by
no,
any
no, no,
means.
They're not, but
I mean, they have.
Well, what are they?
They have a lot of the adjustabilities that the chassis have,
Sure.
but yeah, they're
Different.
yeah.
Did we?
I feel like,
I think.
correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like most that I've seen kind of look like, oh boy, that almost did it.
It's probably
Almost
seen worse.
similar to that.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
very breakable, is it, Mike?
I'm just trying to think of like all the imagery that I've seen of F class shooters. I'm
Right.
wondering if they're running a full metal.
I can't remember if we asked Ian at any point if that was actually part of the regulation, because it seems like almost everybody runs a very similar looking.
Yeah, and I wonder if they're just trying to get like
wood-looking-ish.
weight
That could be.
class.
Yep, because they do have weight restrictions.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
I would also wonder if there's an aesthetic.
Sure.
Yep.
Got to wear a collared shirt when you golf. Got to wear a.
that could be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got to have a horse to play polo.
Not in the pool.
True.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you know they're not on horses?
Good point.
I think we'd know, Jim.
There are seahorses, Mark.
Seahorses for life.
Probably like the Steedles.
What did we accomplish here today?
I don't know. Here's the problem. When I dreamt this up, I was gonna have two stocks on the table. We're gonna keep it. You guys.
We brought props.
I am affecting you guys.
This isn't
with
even-
my inability to choose, because I was like, we're gonna pick these two. We'll be able to talk about them. It'll be simple. It's not gonna take that long. An hour, 19 minutes later.
You know what I like? I was just looking at all these, and I was thinking, because there is a little bit of whatever is wrong with you is the same in me. is I'm looking at it and it's like this for me is like it's got all the things.
That's the MDT carbon.
The MDT, excuse me, yeah. For those who are only listening, is the MDT carbon that has the adjustable everything. It has the Arca Swiss integrated into it. It's carbon fiber. It's lightweight. It would carry better than like the Masterpiece over here.
That cut in the bottom of the stock. I mean, that serves an application. Yes.
Yeah, for like a bag, like a rest, right? It's got all this. It's got many of the features. I shouldn't say all. It has many of the features that a chassis does, but it's in a more traditional style silhouette. But it's lifeless, and so sometimes when I'm thinking about a more traditional silhouette or a stock, I'm thinking of like there's a romanticism to it. There's also a functionality to it. But then it's like, and you know what I just remembered? On that CZ thing that I have, the integrally suppressed 17 HMR, it's got that Boyd's gun stock thing that's fully adjustable with cool little push buttons. And it's wood.
Yeah.
And it's got some like fun little aluminum details to it, comfy little cheek piece.
It's a wood laminate, though.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a laminate, yeah.
Your traditional laminate.
Yeah, so it's like, it's a 10-footer. So, but you look at that and you're like, there's a little life there. There's a little twinkle in its eye. And I like that. I like that in a stock. So I think that's gonna be my choice. I need to get another one of those for like my other
You
gun.
can't, those are gone. Oh, the @1s. You can get it.
Yeah.
You can get an @1. You can't get
I
the integrally suppressed system anymore.
Oh, well, see, I have one, so I'm okay.
Did you just get a 17 barrel? Did you get a 22 LR as well?
I got a non-integrally suppressed 22 barrel, and then I have the integrally suppressed 17 barrel.
Yeah.
But
for woodchucks and engine bays.
I forgot about that. Oh, that's a story to tell someday. Yeah, when you open your hood, there's a full size woodchuck. But anyway, can you get that stock for like other guns?
Yep, absolutely.
Guns, regular guns.
Yep.
Okay. There's my answer.
I mean, but
it's not even on the table.
It's not even on the table, and then it goes back to what are you doing? What are you using it for?
It depends.
Everything.
It depends. One is not better than the other.
It depends.
But it depends.
Yeah. Well, we did it.
Mike, what would you choose?
It depends. I mean,
both.
4 of the ones on the table here are mine, and they all have a little bit different use case.
Yeah. 4 of the ones are yours, and they all kind of skew one way, it seems.
Well, these 2 are the 2 I use the most. This one would be really tough to get into open light and a hunter. Even open heavy would be.
Is there a max cap on that?
Yeah. 12 pounds for open light, 16 pounds for open heavy.
Sure.
So,
but you play this field a little more than less, right? For your hunting equipment as well.
What is this field?
Yep. So
technical.
I've carried this one and this one the last couple of years.
Sure.
So one of those is the MDT,
the Hunt 26.
And what's the other one?
The Macmillan U10. That's what my carbon barrel hunting rifle has been.
Gotcha. And that's Wisconsin deer hunting, right? Yeah.
Yep. It's a little bit. It's my little bit longer range hunting rifle. But yeah, I've carried both of those. I have also carried. I carried my foundation for sniper team matches, which you're at times rucking and.
Ugh.
So heavy rifle, but at the same time it shoots.
Stability is king.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather ruck it and have the stability when shooting. So
yeah,
again, that's where Ryan and I differ. So
yeah,
I differ there as well.
But you're rucking to shoot one time. I'm
even if I was rucking to shoot a bunch of times.
Yeah.
But I would also, if again application, I'd be like, I'd build that and whatever, do it in like a 6 arc or something. And so who cares that it's a lightweight rifle?
Hence Mark putting a carbon barrel on his PRS gun.
Yep.
Correct.
Still
weighs like, I think it weighs like 16 pounds, which I think is like, in my mind, is so heavy. And
that's pretty light.
I still remember when everyone was like, you sure about that? You want that? And you're like, yeah, I don't know why I wouldn't.
I'm like, this seems heavy.
Yeah, that is light for a PRS gun.
Mm-hmm. Nowadays. It used to be that was like the heavy.
I had a fella call the other day. He's like, hey, I dropped my rifle off of my tripod. I'm like, oh, no. He's like, it landed on my elevation turret. He's like, do you think it's okay? I'm like, maybe. And I go, how did you gun? It was like 32 pounds. I'm like, I'll tell you what, man. I'm like, that's a lot of force on one small spot. Turns out it was okay. It thankfully wasn't concrete. So it did make a divot in the earth.
There's still.
Did you replace it?
There's relief though.
You didn't have to. Oh, the divot? I think, you have to.
His turret divot?
Yeah. The field course guys will be like, foul.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a ceremony.
I mean, depending on, there's a lot of give there, depending on what kind of
earth
it landed on. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll have that.
I mean, you could fall from a decent height, but if you land on a stack of pillows, you're going to be all right.
That's true.
You don't always say.
Yeah. Should be a t-shirt. Okay.
Well, there you have it. Stocks versus chassis. Application specific. The good news is, man, there is a stock for everything and everybody now. Pick your poison, and you're going to find something to suit your even very specific needs.
Yes.
Yeah.
There you have it. All right. Well, thanks, guys. Everybody listening. Put some stock in this discussion because a lot of good facts here. Until next time, happy hunting and shooting. Configure your rifle to shoot however the heck you want. We'll catch you on the next one. Bye.
There you have it, folks. Thank you very much for listening. As usual, give this video a like if you liked it, comment something below, and give us a subscribe to the Vortex Nation podcast channel. It would mean a lot to us. Also, why don't you give us a follow over on Instagram while you're at it, at Vortex Nation Podcast. We'd love to hear from you over there, and we'll keep you updated with all kinds of cool photos and videos from our adventures that we do here. Otherwise, we will see you on the next one. Thank you again. Happy hunting and shooting, everybody. Have a good one.